How long have you been in transition? Has it been a few months? Has it been a year? Has it been 2 or 3 years since you started that pivot? How long has it been? Okay, because this particular podcast is specifically for those of you who started a transition more than 12 months ago and you're feeling a little stuck in that transition. Okay, if that is you, welcome to this episode. And I'm specifically talking about business pivots in this context. So it could be I sold my company and now I'm trying to figure out which new company I want to start. It could be going from a one-on-one model to group, or maybe going from an agency model to group, or basically any kind of business model pivot. You could be pivoting from brick and mortar business to an online business, literally any kind of business pivot that you've been making. Okay. The thing that I want to encourage you, if you find yourself in this specific space, is that you need an energy shift. Okay. People don't talk enough about how emotional pivots can be. Okay. There's always some element of starting something, stopping something, letting go. And many times those things come with emotions. And if you've been in transitions for 1 or 2 or 3 years, it's not it can be emotional, it is emotional, okay? All kinds of emotion. There could be excitement, right, about what's next and what's new, but there's also often frustration and doubt and overwhelm, but mostly fear, okay? And because there's lots of emotion, all of that emotion, particularly if a lot of it is fear, which oftentimes it is, right? One of the things that is unique about doing pivots and transitions as an experienced entrepreneur as compared to like a new entrepreneur, right? Because here's the thing is that there are a lot of people who move from employee to entrepreneur, right? And then there are a lot of people who move from entrepreneur uh either out of back to employee and then back to entrepreneurship, or from entrepreneurship to nothing, right? I have several people who have sold their companies, right? And so now they're like, what do I do now? Right. And it's like that second transition can be harder than the first, which is crazy. You would think that the employee to entrepreneur transition would be really hard, and it is, right? That comes with its own set of difficulties. But I find that a lot of people get stuck in that second transition if they end up going through a second transition, which they often do, right? Again, changing your business model, selling your company, uh, going from one business to another, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason is because you know more now, right? It's like when you get into entrepreneurship, you're very optimistic, right? You're very hopeful. You're seeing people win. But when you make that second transition, you're a little bit more pessimistic, right? You still have excitement, you still have hope, you still know what you're capable of, but you also know how much work goes into it. You also know how much risk there is. And so that second pivot is where I see people get stuck. And so I just want to encourage you, you need an energy shift, right? It's not just about doing more in order to like push yourself through the transition. Shift the energy. Okay. And there's lots of ways that you can do that. But what we're really looking for is one that is both effective and aligned, right? Because effective is just, does it shift my energy, right? So I could go for a walk on the beach, or I could watch a funny movie, or I could hang out with friends or have good sex. All of those things will shift your energy, right? Unfortunately, though, it doesn't last as long as we need it to in order to get out of the transition. So we're not just looking for a coping mechanism. We're not just looking for relief. We're not even just looking for something that will calm your nervous system, which is like the buzzword these days. Um, that makes it effective, but not necessarily aligned, right? Because what we need is to get out of the transition, right? That's the goal, is to get out of this stuck place. So we need both, okay? And most things that you try fall into the first category where they shift your mood temporarily. Okay. So in and of itself, it's not enough. Okay. What you need in addition to relief is clarity, right? We need relief and clarity in order to have the kind of energy shift that gets us out of transition. Okay. Because when you gain clarity, it helps you create a more permanent energy shift. Okay. Now, what you specifically will look on, obviously, there are lots of different things. Right? Sometimes the clarity that you're looking for is more personal, right? Like maybe I'm burnt out and I don't even know what I want anymore. Or maybe I've, gone through divorce or something, pretty traumatic. And what I wanted has changed and I'm trying to figure that out. So it's more on the personal side, right? A lot of times it's on the business side, right? Like, what should my new set of offers be or what price point or what positioning or, all of that kind of thing. Maybe it's both, right? And depending on what you need clearly on, it can feel very overwhelming. And so what I want to offer you is to start with your North Star, okay? When you understand what your North Star is, it acts as a filter and a decision-making tool that gives you both the clarity and the relief that is often needed in order to get out of a stuck place. Okay. So when I say North Star, I'm really talking about what we call a detailed destination, right? The destination is just where am I going, right? A lot of times people think mission, vision kind of stuff when you hear destination. And usually people already have some level of clarity about this. Like they have an idea what their mission is, they have an idea what their vision is, right? Many times it is broad or vague, right? Which is part of the problem, right? Because business requires a level of specificity that your personal life does not require, right? Which is why we have detailed in front of the word destination, not just destination, right? Because detailed destination is really about the level of clarity that you need for you and your business, not just one or the other, right? When you don't have both, or when you do have both, but the two are misaligned, right? So, for example, I'm thinking of a client who wants to live off the grid. She sold her house, sold her restaurant, all the things, and got a van and is just traveling around the world with her dog, right? And there's a level of clarity about what she wants personally, right? But then her business strategy doesn't match the lifestyle that she wants, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to do digital products and I am going to push content every day, um, that kind of a thing. And it's like, oh, you have clarity, but it's misaligned. You can't live off the grid and like this personal lifestyle that you want doesn't fit the business model that you've decided to go after. Right. So that's what I mean by aligned. Okay. You need the clarity of both. Right. So rather than just self-care, right? Rather than just going for walks and getting your nails done and, hanging out with friends, all of that is good. I think you should be doing that. Right. But be clear about what your North Star is in a detailed way, not just, and I promise you, it will give you the boost, right? Obviously, it's not going to solve every problem that you have, right? What I'm saying is that a great start is to shift your energy, and the North Star that you get clear about is a great way to do that, right? And if you're looking for a way to get out of that slump, this is a great way to start. Even if you think you have clarity on your vision or you have clarity on your mission, like this is not a yes or no question. It is not like, are you clear or not? It's like, no, to what degree, right? We have a free audio that's all about your North Star. So you're happy to take full advantage of that. It also, bonus, I should mention this, is that those people who go through that free audio to help them get clear about their North Star, they can submit their answers and get feedback, right? We have a free session that we do for those people who actually go through that process. And so if you're struggling in that area, I would love for you to just jump in so you can get some momentum and get out of that stuck place.